everyone. How's everyone doing? Hey, Kate. Hey, Victoria, lover of books. Hey, Miss Jenny T. How's everyone doing tonight? Hey, Minna, Minna Kennington Wrights. I think I got that right. Probably not. Hey, Janelle. So you guys know the drill. If you see Miss Brentmoor, you just holler. Hey, Letty. Hi, guest of Precious Book Owl. Is it me or is the sound low? Is it low? I see someone. Oh, did I do it? Yes.
Hi.
Hi, Samantha. How are you doing?
Good. I was sitting here in chat admiring this like stunning, cozy, velvety thing you're wearing. What is this?
Sister gives me all her clothes and she's a bougie bitch. So like I get it's I don't know, but this is what she gives. She gives it to me. She goes, just when you're in the airport, just put it on and that's what you wear in the airport. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna wear this to the masquerade event I have 2 weeks coming up. But I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, but also it looks like it's like the softest.
It is
Cozy.
very,
Yeah.
yes, it is. It's very, I think it's crushed velvet. I don't know.
I want to touch it. I want to go through the screen and not to be creepy, but I want to touch this.
I want you to touch it. Where is this going already? I'm just kidding.
I know. I'm starting really in a weird place. I'm sorry.
Well, I love your sweater. I've been trying to find a sweater with a big neck like that but I can't do it.
So it's a hood.
No,
What?
because it's so sophisticated looking.
Look, she's classy. She's classy. She's
so classy.
I mean,
No,
she's
so classy.
Jedi. I don't know what's going on, but it's very, I'm with you. I want like big cowl. I'm still, I'll take a big scarf. I just want to be like, basically, if I could wear a blanket,
Yes,
like I would.
they actually have those. I think. Where you
I
can wear
think
it.
they're snuggies, basically.
Samantha, don't wear that out. Okay, you can wear it inside, but I wouldn't recommend.
The
0 out of 10.
next convention, you're gonna see me like in a snuggie. Be like, listen, I talked to Precious about it. I think I'm gonna make it work.
No, they'll be like that. She didn't tell you it's going to work. Okay, so someone mentioned sound earlier, so I just want to make sure. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
Okay.
Okay.
I can hear you great. Let me just double check with the chat before we keep going. Because the worst thing ever is when you have sound issues and no one tells you. Yeah. It's like I could have. Oh, looks like I just got a thumbs up. So we're good to go. Perfect. Okay. So Samantha, thank you for saying yes.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, you're like big time for me. Like, I'm new to all this, but like my friends who know audiobooks think very highly of you. And
Well, that's very kind of them.
and when I told them, they were like, "What?" I'm like, "I know, stop it. We're cool." So thank you for saying yes to me. I appreciate it because I know you probably don't know who the hell I am.
How long have you said you're new to this? When did you start getting into books?
Okay, so I joined an online book club in January of 2024, and I started listening to audiobooks the August before.
Okay.
And I call myself a boomer because when I came into this world, I wasn't even in AOL chat rooms back in the day. Like I did nothing online. So like I was the one that told my kids, I'm like, they're gonna abduct you. Like, don't give anyone your any name or anything like that. And then now they find out and they're like, you put your social security number as your handle, didn't you, mom? I'm like, is that bad?
You're like, everybody seems this is normal, right?
Yeah. So I'm fairly new, and I've listened to 2 of your books. Okay, and the first time I heard you was with Shane East in Rival Secrets, and there was you and Shane. Okay, and I'm listening, and it's a dual narration. So I'm hearing you, and then I hear another guy, and I'm like, what? That's not. I knew Shane's voice. Like that's not Shane East. I was like, and I looked again, like I audible. I looked at it. I'm like, there's no other man there. And then I realized that's Samantha Brentmoor.
She's
Best man voice.
really trying to do her best Shane East.
You did back. So I mean, I was shocked that was not you. Like I mean, that was you. Like because it did not sound like you at all. Best male voice I've ever heard.
Oh, well,
Hands
thank you.
down. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so enough fangirling. I'll go ahead and introduce you, kind of tell a little about your stuff, and then we're just going to dig in. Okay.
Do
All
it.
right. So Samantha Brentmoor is originally raised in Kansas, but now she's based in New York. You have over 370 Audible credits. Is that correct? Because sometimes that's wrong.
For romance, probably. I think it's a little bit more as like some stuff gets out. On Audible right now, I think there's 370. I've done over 500 total.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
a lot of audiobooks.
A lot of
Um,
audiobooks.
your voice brings complex women and their love lives across audiobooks, video games, and more. So I like to start this at the beginning. Tell me about the day you were born. I'm just kidding. Not that far
It's
back.
actually kind of a funny story.
Oh, hit me.
I mean, if you want, I feel like it does set up a certain vibe. My mom, I was like late, and my mom was like, so I've got three sisters, so I'm number two of four.
Okay.
She really was like, this baby, let's go, girl. And I was like, I'm good. It's cozy in here. We're hanging out. And they lived in a forest. And my mom took, like, she walked in the woods and she, like, took a Guinness. And she was like, I'm going to walk in the woods. I'm going to sip some Guinness. I'm going to tell her to get out of there. I'm going to tell her she's got to go. And I was like, she told me this story. Like, I remember finding out in high school when I was like shocked that I was like, Mom, you're so bad. What? She's like, it was a sip of Guinness. It was fine. And it didn't even kick you out. I had to walk around the woods for like an hour.
There's so many. She lived in the woods. Let's start there. I like off the grid in the woods.
No, like I was
Okay.
born in Peoria, Illinois. So
I lived right near there, Bloomington.
my younger sister was born in Bloomington.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we spent like early on like moving all around Illinois before we landed in Kansas.
did you know what's in Bloomington? Corn. Like
Right. I'm sure there's like lots of things that you do with corn there that we probably don't think should be done elsewhere.
I just know that I didn't know where we were going to live, and my husband got a job out there, and then I was driving, and it said I was a mile from my house, my new house, and I was like, "There's corn everywhere. I can't see anything." I was like, "How am I come from Nashville?" So I'm like, "How am I a mile?" And then all of a sudden, the corn parts, and then there's neighborhoods. I was like, "Oh, this is where
Right.
we're living."
Okay.
So they lived like in the not cornfield, but forest.
No, like rural. So like,
Okay.
outside, because like Peoria is not, I mean, Peoria's not super rural, but like at the time when I was born, it was not as popular, I think, as it is now. But yeah, so they were out in Peoria, outside of Peoria, and they were on like a stretch of land that she could walk around. And yeah, she was like, girl, let's go. And I think I was born in like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was, you know what? Listen, let's take it easy. Let's not I set up the vibe. I'm always down for a beer, apparently. But I don't know.
You started off right then, right? With that. I love it. She waited till you were like 18 to tell you that.
No. She was like, well, it was kind of a hard birth and you took a while. And then again, when I was like, yeah, when I was in like high school, she was like, and also, I mean, I was drinking a Guinness trying to really get you out because I was sick of you. And I was like, thanks. And now that I'm older, and I know I don't have kids, but like all of my girlfriends who are pregnant, I'm like, oh no, I know that feeling where you're just like, I'm so pregnant. I've been so pregnant for so long. Please, can I not be pregnant anymore?
Just do whatever it takes. Just get it out. Okay, so little Samantha, did you have any creative talents or aspirations when you were a kid?
Yeah, we just pulled up a bunch of like old home videos that I had kind of forgotten how extra I was as a child. Apparently, I really forced all my sisters to do a recurring sketch comedy show called Saturday Night Sam. Doesn't hold up, I'm going to tell you that much, but there's a lot of heart. There's a lot of hearts.
So the middle kid made her sisters do a sketch show that's titled after you.
Yeah, yeah.
Little performer, huh?
Yeah, I really was. I really was. And a little bossy baby too. I was like, wow, you could see like I think there's like my younger sister and I were cracking up because at the end I made them in like the credits say like good night and she was being really sassy and you can see me like I keep cutting it and I'm like you have to be like fun. It's fun. And just like my listeners being like good night. Oh, good night. Oh. And it's like 5 times in a row. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry for the trauma.
well, it sounds like you were a performer from the start.
I think
Yeah?
so. I think I had a bug for kind of my whole life.
And did you have like middle school theater, high school theater, drama?
Yeah, it was a thing where there wasn't a lot available. And like my family, like all of my sisters are very creative. One of them is a musician, one of them's a dancer, one of them's a visual artist. But my parents were always like really practical. And so while they were like excited and supportive of the interest, they were very wary of like making it being like, okay, well, if you're going to make it your career, it's a very like unstable, unreliable career. So like
Yeah.
what else are you going to do? So I spent a lot of growing up wanting to like do programs like that or seek it out. And it always came like, well, kind of like after you ate your vegetables, so to speak. Like, well, after you've like gotten a baseline, then like it can be this sort of like fun thing on top. And I think what that like built for me was like, I don't know, like a certain resilience, respect for the work that it takes. Like I definitely like have worked very hard throughout my life like towards this career, and also have like always counterbalanced it with like other things. So it wasn't um there's always been other things in my life, and I think that as a kid I was maybe frustrated that they didn't go like all in and send me to all the theater camps and whatnot. But I think as an adult I can really appreciate that it cultivated a real sense of like balance for me. So yeah, I mean, that's all things, right? Like when you're a kid, you're like, our parents are so dumb, and then you're
But
like, they had an idea.
it's hard for an artist to make it. No matter what you're doing, what genre you're doing. Like that's our we're all musically inclined, my kids, and
Yeah.
we balance it. Like you want to be a tuba player. I mean, even if you're the best tuba player in the world, I'm sure you're not going to need a second job for that.
Yeah.
So we're just being real with them, so they can just because it's a choosing sometimes a life of a musician or artist is the hard road.
It is. And I think for my parents, like they definitely, I think for them, especially like when you want to be an actor, they were like, well, you can't just do it because you want, because again, coming from a little kid who was making Saturday Night Sam, it's named after me. I think they really wanted me to learn how to take the ego out of it and how to do all aspects of production and how to understand that, like, you can't just want to do it to be the best tuba player or to, get all these things, and that you have to have a certain sense of resilience to be out there and get turned down for roles. And so I do think, yeah, I think that balance, and I think sometimes having them say no, again, like I said, as much as I was frustrated at the time, I think it did help me. I didn't get so bummed. Like once I moved to New York eventually after stuff and was auditioning and stuff, I never got super bummed out from auditions because I think I was sort of like used to people saying like, oh, me being like, I want to act, and somebody being like, no, you got to do this first. So
No, yeah, that's your parents gave you a good sense of reality.
I think so.
Yeah. Um, are they still living there, Peoria?
No, so we moved. I like grew up in Kansas because we moved to Kansas before I started like kindergarten or first grade. And then we were in Wichita. We were in Kansas City for my like high school and like some middle school. And then my mom actually just moved. My dad passed a couple years ago, and my mom moved to Chicago, where like all my extended family is. So I'm in Kansas. We bounce back and forth.
Yeah. Do you hear any feedback? I just want to make sure I'm still sounding okay.
You sound great to me. Do I sound okay to you?
You sound great. It's just sometimes I hear myself in my. I'm not meant to have a fancy microphone, Samantha.
You have a very fancy setup. I looked at your setup. I was like, girl, are you the professional voiceover actor? What is happening in the studio right now?
No, I can't get rid of my accent. I could never do it unless it was literally someone who could not act a Southern dialect. I could do that one.
I feel like we got to get you on one because I was watching. I was like, you've got such a calming, soothing, this like ASMR adjacent. Like I just want to listen to you before I go to bed. Like,
Okay, so I've been talking about ASMR. I'm like, all you do is this, and just start whispering like that. Do you make money?
clink your bowl. You're done.
Come on. Okay, sorry. That's not about me. Okay, so high school, you were in drama. You kind of knew what you want to do for college. Did you have any fun jobs in high school?
Yeah, so like I always wanted to do like lots of different things. So like there was a period of time in high school where I started going to culinary school. I was really delusional enough that I thought that I could be both again with the idea of like I needed a backup plan. I was like my backup plan for being a professional actor was like I'll be a professional actor and also a chef. Like that's like not
This is a very hard road.
like that doesn't take its own.
Your parents were like, oh, Jesus, we didn't teach you.
I was so let down. So I was in culinary school for a while, and when I was there, I was like I was like a competitive chef, which means that like basically I was on a team and we would like travel around and do like cooking competitions where we were judged on like how well we could like julienne a potato, and then we made like a 4-course meal and we got judged against that. And so while I was doing that, I didn't ever work in a kitchen, but I was the baker at this like cookie bakery, and yeah, and then I would like also waited tables. Those were like my high school jobs. And then when I got to college and I gave up on culinary school because I realized that's a whole different life path, I worked in the scene shop and I built all the I built all the sets for stuff.
So you majored in performance.
I did, yeah. And that was like also kind of like on a bet ish with my parents, because when I was a senior in high school, I did this like Shakespeare competition and I won like the state level. And so I got to do the nationals, and that was in New York. And I visited New York in high school and immediately fell in love. I was like, I think I found this journal entry that I was just like, oh, you sweet summer child. It was like me waxing poetic about getting like a mozzarella tomato basil sandwich from a bodega and going and eating on a rock in Central Park. And it was the most amazing thing this Kansas girl had seen. I was like, it's amazing here. I love it. I have to move here. And I was really dedicated to it. And I came back home after doing this competition and being like, I'm moving to New York. We're doing it. It's a done deal. I'm getting in performance. And my parents even like let me audition for schools in New York. And I got into them and I was really excited. And then they were like, when I was like, and it costs this much. And they were like, no. So then when I went to state school, I went to the University of Kansas. And they also the deal was to pay to like help support me for my degree. I had to either get a double major in business and theater, or I had to graduate the theater program in like 3 years, like a short amount of time. And I was like, challenge accepted. I don't like macroeconomics. I'm going to graduate quickly. So yeah, so that's how, yeah, I went in and out in 3 years so that like I could have their support and that was sort of like the narrative with them. It was always calling their bluff. They were like, if you want to do this, you have to do it in hard mode. And I'd be like, done.
You're like, challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted.
When you graduated, what did you think you wanted to do? Did you think you wanted to be on the stage? Did you think you wanted to do commercials? What did you want to do?
Yeah. I mean, I loved theater. For a while, I thought I'd like work in New York for a while and then like go and try to get in like a repertory company at like a regional theater, because at the time, the kind of like stable acting jobs, if you wanted to do theater, like that was a track that was a lot more less available now, but at the time it was like, okay, that's maybe something. And I wanted to do film and television, but like not as much as theater. And so that's why like I did New York instead of LA, because there was like some film and television opportunity, but not much. And then I realized like I started doing more like on-camera training and like some on-camera auditions. I was like, oh, this is not for me. I am very awkward once you put a camera on me. There's something about being on stage that I was fine, but I just like could not. And to this day, it's just, I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. All the like promo stuff that they want us to do now, part of the reason I loved finding voiceover was that it was like acting that I could do over here. You don't know me at all. And now it's like, they want us like all to show up. So I think like but it was like really hard, I think, for me. I just like could never find my like angles right. And I just was always like very aware of the amount of technical work you have to do and be skilled at, I think just didn't click for my brain for on-camera work. So then I really focused on theater stuff. And I ran, I then like, I'm not like a singer or a dancer. So like that also cut off like a whole swath of performance for me. And so then I started doing more producing actually. And I was the artistic director of a theater downtown at St. Mark's Church in the Bowery called the Incubator Arts Project. And that's when I really started like looking more at the other side of theater besides, and again, was really grateful for this through line of my parents to like think about not just like the thing that is really fun, which was the acting part, but like the industry as a whole. And yeah, and so it was really, it made me feel like I could say no to stuff like on camera and not have like no option, like that I still had other options and that there were other parts of this industry to explore.
Yeah.
And work on.
So funny story. I actually, I work from home now, but before this job, I was a executive director for a community theater. So I know all your types.
Oh yeah.
That
And
was-
also you're the one who's making it happen.
Yes.
Like none of them could actually have. Did you ever watch the show Slings and Arrows?
No.
You would love it. It's great. It's this Canadian TV show. I think it's only like 2 seasons from like maybe the early 2000s. And it's all about this community theater in Canada that's like a Shakespeare rep company, but it so much highlights like the challenges of the artistic director and the executive director and the resident company, and it's hilarious and wonderful.
Artists.
Yep. The resident artists that come and Slings and Arrows, check it out. It's amazing.
It's probably my life. That was for like 8 years.
Oh, it was, yeah.
I mean, I have gray hair because of that place.
Yeah.
It's a totally different than business world. It is a totally different, everyone is just a little bit different. So it took a long time for me to adjust. And I don't even know if I ever adjusted. I just was like, we want to make money and keep the doors open. This is what we're doing, you know?
That's the worst part about being the executive director in those situations, because you're the only person who is thinking of it as a business. And you're always like, it sucks because people make you, oftentimes, at the worst of it, you're like the bummer. Yeah. And you're like, guys, no, I want to make this happen, but like
I
compromise.
like musicals. Let's do some musicals with butts in the seats. Isn't that better than not?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
That nobody's going to show to, but let's do another one where a lot of people will show up.
Exactly. Yeah. Enough about me. All right. So you realized you did artistic director. What point did you go voice acting?
I was running this theater downtown and I was living in New York, and I think I was making something like $24,000 a year, which you can't really live off of in New York City at all. And so I was like freaking out on like how I was like what other extra jobs I could pick up. And I had a friend that suggested that I audition for, she was like doing work with Pandora Radio. And so I auditioned for their like commercial department. And then I got work for them and for iHeartRadio. And the iHeartRadio stuff was like, I had to do really odd hours. And I was like at 3:00 in the morning or like 4:30 in the morning, I'd like call into morning radio shows and like be the girl whose husband is cheating on her and or like, you know, whatever. And industries,
Are real people?
some of them I'm sure are. Some of them are sure. The ones that I were clearly not.
I wonder if I listened to you ever.
Maybe.
No, girl, he did what? Oh, you better.
Send him flowers right now. Ask him who he's going to send him to, and if he sends him to Stacy, I'm going to be so pissed.
Oh my gosh. I think I did listen to you probably then.
So I was like, I started doing these like early radio things. I was like, okay, well, this is like some cash in the thing and in the bank account, and this feels pretty good. And then like as I was getting going on those, Pandora called and had me start doing like proper commercials, like car commercials and McDonald's commercials. And I had to find studios for that because they had to be of a certain quality. And so just friends that I knew from theater and film work who were doing audiobook or commercial or cartoon work at studios would slip me in before their session for 5 minutes, and I'd record my like 3 versions of a 30-second McDonald's commercial. I think it also made, because I was slipping in before, that like built the muscle to like be really confident to do it in like one take, and like just I have 5 minutes to record 3 versions of this commercial and I better do it well. So I started doing that. And while I was in those studios, then people would say, oh, well, you're here already. We're casting for this video game or this cartoon or this audiobook. Do you want to throw down an audition while you're here? And I was like, yes, please. I would love anything to help me live in the most expensive ever.
Okay, I got a few questions from what you just
Please.
said. Okay, so McDonald's, were you the ba-da-ba-ba-ba? Was that you?
No, no, I was the voice of McDonald's Hawaii for a while. I was like, Hana ho, we're eating like, yeah, it was, but like for like a hot second.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That might be the pinnacle for me. I'm like, you McDonald's spokesperson in Hawaii. Pretty cool.
Yeah. I was like, I think for me, that was the first time that I realized that there are different McDonald's menus where you go. I thought every McDonald's menu was the same. And that was my eye opener that no.
I learned that when I went to Italy.
Oh, what's special on an Italian McDonald's menu?
It's not special. I was like, where are your pancakes? Where are your biscuits? I'm like, this is what my kids eat. Like literally, when I got off the plane and realized that I said, my kids are going to starve because they were smaller, so they only ate nuggets. So Brian said once I was going past McDonald's, like, and there was a real one, and they had nuggets. He's like, you bought. I don't remember this. He's like, you bought like 80 of them and started shoving them places like they're treats to give them. I said, oh, that tracks. I don't remember.
We're just taking care of the family.
You know what? Got to feed them. Okay, so cartoon work.
Yeah.
Any cartoons I would know? Please don't tell me you were Caillou.
No.
Oh God, I can't.
No.
Oh.
I did like, again, nothing super like insane, but I did like a run on, I was like a couple side characters on World of Winks for a while. And then I was like a couple like evil characters on like Pokemon for a while. And then like the thing about Pokemon, when it was recording in New York when I was, it would also be the type of thing that's like, well, for like 2 episodes, I was Magikarp, but there's like normally another guy who does it. But like, that's the thing, like you'd sometimes just jump in because like the Pokemon just say their name. So if you can do like, you know what I mean? Where you're just like, well, if I can just do that voice for a little bit and they can pick me up, you know, I only have like 5 lines. So yeah, so I did some Pokemon and World of Wings. And then everything else I did cartoon wise were all these like crazy dubbed imports from like France and Russia that like at a certain point there was one there I was working on a session just a couple months ago. I was laughing with my engineer because I was like, I was trying to put together a reel. I can never find these. It was the one they're like sentient houses. There's like a talking RV that goes and visits other buildings, and the buildings describe themselves. They're like, oh, I'm the pyramids, and I'm the, you know, like whatever it is. I was like, I was trying to find this commercial for my reel. I can't find it anywhere. It doesn't exist. And my engineer was like, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if we're just like a weird money laundering scheme for these weird international dubs, because they do. They like come in, they get dubbed, and then they go off, and like maybe they're never distributed in the States or whatever. So it's less like sexy and exciting than you'd think. But Pokemon and World of Winks are probably the ones that are the most popular.
Hey, that's pretty cool. McDonald's and Pokemon.
McDonald's, Pokemon, World of Winks, and then I was on a couple of these Owlcat games, Pathfinder and Warhammer. I was like characters on those.
And those are where you're like doing the.
Yeah, for the Pathfinder and Warhammer games, they're more like the like kind of role-playing games where it's like I'm a companion that you can talk to, and like it's like turn-based strategy games. So like, you know, you're flying through space and you come across me and I can join your team, and then I'm like your sassy friend and we go shoot aliens together. And then I've done like a ton of dumbass mobile games where I do the watch out, you're in my sights, coming for you now. Like done any number of those that like, you know, they're just churning those out.
Okay, so I talked to Tara Langella 2 weeks ago, and she's apparently really big in the video world. And I don't tell my kids about this. Like they don't know I read spicy books. So like they think I'm on a work Zoom. But I'm like, golly, if I was able to tell my kids I'm talking to voice actors, I get to do their video, like I'd be the coolest mom ever. But not yet. Not until one day they just bust in and I'm like, okay, so how did you get from doing things at different studios, going in, going out, to you romance books?
One of the studios, so for a while I was like bringing coffee and bagels to my friends and thank you, can I have 5 minutes? And that obviously, as one can imagine, can wear thin as I was like, the volume was really increasing of the number of, I was getting up to like 10 commercials a week. And I was really feeling bad about it. And one of the studios that I worked a deal out with is the studio that I'm now with, Brick Shop Audio. And basically the deal was, before I went to my 9 to 5, because this was about the time that I was working for the National Center for Learning Disabilities, I'd stopped working at the theater and I was now working at NCLD. So before I'd go to my 9 to 5, I'd go to Brick Shop, and it was before Brick Shop opened. So they'd give me a key, I'd leave them some cash on the door, and then I'd record my commercials and do it. And I was there now regularly enough that they could send me auditions, and Brick Shop at the time, and still, was producing any number of romance books. And so the first book I got was a romance book, was the first full audiobook that I ever did. And it was a romance with Brick Shop.
Okay, so going back to your other job, the learning for, what was it?
I was the director of operations over at the National Center for Learning Disabilities, and I was brought on as they were launching a website called understood.org, which is for parents of children with learning and attention issues. And it was the whole philosophy ethos of that site, was the foundation that started it had access to like really wonderful, like best in class resources for their kids, and they wanted to figure out a way to like give those resources and information to as many parents as possible. So they created this digital media site, understood.org, that I helped build from the ground up and ran the team that like launched it. And it was like, really, I'm very proud of that work. I'm very passionate about that like community. And yeah, so I was working there with them on that. And I think it's like what actually really informs, it's why I have a lot of like knowledge on like digital marketing and media strategy. We did like ad campaigns with the Ad Council. And so I'm really appreciative because I really took a lot of that knowledge, and like as I started developing more stuff online and engaging online for the book world, like that's been really helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I was at.
So, because I read somewhere that you have dyslexia.
Mm-hmm.
So, is that kind of how maybe you kind of got involved over there? Because,
No, I got involved there because the guy that was like in charge of putting together Understood, knew me from theater work and like knew me as a producer and was like, I really need help. You're good with people. You're good with processes. Do you want to be in operations for this? And I joined him. And actually, while I was there was how I figured out my like ADHD diagnosis. And I was like, oh, like I had always like sort of managed my dyslexia, whatever. It's a great environment because I like think I learned a lot of strategies, but I was not aware of them as an organization.
So when did you find out you had dyslexia?
I definitely, so I was in like special ed growing up for so like, and I had like an IEP for, other stuff when I was growing up in like the like gifted and talented program. And so through there, like they definitely clocked in like, sometime in like elementary school, they were like, why are you reading these? I was curious.
Yeah.
So yeah. And it was like, I mean, it was never like a lot of the way, I think because of the way that I process information, this is now still like, so my challenge as like an audiobook narrator who has dyslexia is I do a lot of like subbing of words and like guessing what and finding the pattern and like filling in the blanks of what that sentence is going to be. And so if I'm going too fast, like basically now what it means for my life is not that I read slower or I flip up words, because the way that I've overcompensated is like that substitution, or I just read it and I flip the words a lot. So for me as an audiobook narrator, it just means that like I'm mentally prepared to have a lot more retakes. There was like, yeah, I just have a lot more retakes, and like that's okay. Like I spent a lot of time early on asking post-production friends of mine and being like, am I gonna lose work because I have more retakes than other people? And they were like, no, not at all. Like retakes are normal. Do you turn them back in? Do you match your sound? Like, do you turn it around fast? Then it's like, no, skin off our back. But I really spent a long time, and sometimes it will pop back up, especially when like conversations like amongst narrators will come on, especially like newer narrators will sometimes be like, oh, I'm like so proud I like came back with like no retakes. And I'm like, I will never know that reality. I've like maybe had a couple books where I've been like, oh, there's very few. This feels great. But yeah, and so I would like really beat myself up and be like, oh, I think I'm like worse. I think I'm gonna get fired. I think I'm like, this sucks. But no, it's been fine. And I always talk to like my directors and stuff. And if there's a project I'm on that really is particular or like doesn't want to deal with retakes or something, you know, I'll get a session engineer or director who like in real time will stop you when you're
I was going to ask
I
because
door through the ran instead of ran through the door.
I've heard some people do proofers,
Yeah.
like to proof their work before it goes somewhere.
Mhm.
And then so real time is where they're like listening to you record as you go. So does every book have that, or just some books?
No, I mean, um, so like one, there's paying for somebody's time to be like my session engineer in that way. So it's certainly like an investment that I have to decide is worth it if that's something I want to do. I definitely have also, I think because I understand, and I have the relationships from like, you know, Brick Shop and the post production team there. I've had like a lot of conversations, so I just like understand that it's like it's not a big deal to have, you know, the number of retakes that I have. And like I also know as a producer, kind of comparatively, I'm not in like an insane like I got the character name wrong through a whole book level of retakes. And it's actually like there are plenty of people who don't have dyslexia who have as many retakes as I do. So I think it's for me it's been really fine, and I don't it's not worth it for me. Like the proofing audio for me personally before I send it in, I don't do that because I just know it's like somebody else's job to do that on the other side as part of the team. So I'm confident that they're going to catch it, and that if I catch it before I turn it in, I still then have to cut it in. So I'm not necessarily saving what some could argue if you proof it with like an engineer in real time, the like smoothness of like the read, right? That you're not like, oh, I caught it right when I was in the moment in the emotional space, so it's going to sound smoother, rather than I do it later. But if I give it to a proofer before I send it off to the editors, I still then have to cut it in. So that has not, for me, hasn't made sense.
Yeah. I want to skip around a little bit.
Yes.
You had mentioned earlier about the marketing aspect of what you did in operations, and then you also mentioned that video now for narrators, something they're asking you to do more and more of. I've talked to a few other voice actors, and it seems like there is a shift from being solo in your booth, recording, sending it off, and keep getting job after job on your merit, to your social media status, your marketing ability. Were you there before, during, and after, or when did you come into the industry where you kind of already had to market yourself?
Yeah, I definitely was booking work before that became the norm. I think I maybe, yeah, I think I was booking work where it was like certainly something people were using, and there were certainly people that were gathering with community online, but it was like much like less. Like, because I think my first romance book was 2014. But I was doing like non-book VO for like years before that. And I didn't start showing up as Samantha Brentmoor stuff like for romance and engaging with the romance community until a couple of years after that. I'd have to like look at when my account started, but and it was because somebody had another narrator had messaged me and said, "Hey, your name is coming up a lot in these like in this Facebook book group for romance. It would be really cool if you had like a page to like, you know, respond and see that or talk to them or whatever." And that was why I had started. So yeah, I kind of came before or during maybe the rise of.
Okay. So, what do you? I'm assuming you love what you do. I'm just assuming that. What do you love about the romance industry? Like, what do you love the fans? Do you love
Hmm.
the work? Do you love working with authors?
Yeah, I mean all of that. I think I love working predominantly in a genre and an industry that celebrates like female pleasure and like self-discovery and like self-optimization and connection and community. I said this recently about I just did this book, Female Fantasy, and in it it's very meta, and she's a romance book fan, and her friends that she meets online through and like a love of books are like a big part of the plot. And she talks about, oh, I've never met them, but I would give a kidney for one of them. And then she ends up like meeting them on this like madcap adventure she goes on. And
I feel like you're describing my life, Samantha.
gotta read this book, girl. It's great. It's so much fun.
What's it called again?
Female fantasy.
Okay.
But that like sense of community, I had said, like, I think in this day and age, I think that like romance and romance fans are one of the few places that I watch people be willing to get over their own vulnerabilities and insecurities to connect with people that they maybe wouldn't normally connect to, and to go out of their comfort zone and meet them and go in real life and show up and have like real connection and community. And I think that that orientation towards like each other and being open to each other and people from very different backgrounds is like what's going to save the world. Like, I do, like, not to be like crazy, but I think that is so important. And I think like women who have found each other through this work, like, I think if we can use that muscle in various ways, is like really wonderful and important. And so I think I'm just constantly inspired by, one, the fact that they're, from the author perspective, the sheer volume of women who bet on themselves and invested in themselves and like put themselves out there is like really inspiring. Then the readers who, like, the women who put themselves out there to meet other people and like to read this work, and the fact that it is work that, you know, is saying that your feelings are really important and that you're valued and loved. And I think it's just, I think it's like really important, and that like joy and like just having fun has value, and like, I just think that that's really, I think that's really important to hold on to. And I think that we can be, I think some people kind of go, oh, well, it's just romance, or it's just, and like, and also like, you know, with all these, you know, the horrors of the world that we're in right now, like, how can you just like entertain yourself and escape? And I think, in my experience, most of the consumers and creators of romance work are incredibly expansive and are able to hold space for both like the most ridiculous madcap rom-coms and also the like heartbreaking realities of the world that we live in, that like, that both can be true. And I think that like, I don't know, I think that the women that like create and make it, enjoy this work, don't get enough credit. And I think it's a great place to like, to just be in the world. They're just really, I think for the most part, it's there's more good than anything else in this community.
So first of all, you need to be a spokesperson for romance books. I mean, I think if I'd never had read a romance book and watched this live, I'd be like, I want that. Sign me up. Because everything and it's, I mean, I know that I joke that I don't read the chat, but I did see when you were talking about that and forming relationships and friendships. I mean, it's spot on. Like, you're spot on. But I do want to talk about what you just said, and the flip side of it is that I mean, you are an advocate for romance, you're an advocate for women, and we are women in this romance world, but we talk a lot about the men.
Yeah.
I've, when I first got here, I did the same. Didn't even think about it. But now that I'm aware of it, I really strive to make it equal. What do you have any advice for people like me who, you know, we love our romance books and we love the FMC and we love you and we love your voice, but when we promote it, we just use the clip of the guy or just talk about the guy.
Yeah.
What advice? What would you suggest to us?
I don't know. I mean, I think that there's like, I think there's some things to just like say are like important to say, which is that like, one, I like deeply respect the work that the men in this industry do. And I think that it is important. And I recognize that particularly in the pockets of romance that are predominantly like hetero, like, you're going to be, you as a straight woman are listening to a story, and a lot of times people are like self-inserting. And so you're going to feel something. It will incite a feeling about that male character more than it's going to incite a feeling about the female character. Not that you don't appreciate and like love it, but you're going to have a stronger reaction. So it's always made sense to me that the default is, oh my God, Darcy is like the most amazing man in the world and he can just take, like, that's, and I'm not, it doesn't for me, that never took away from my work. And I also feel, and I still feel this way, that the attention that my male colleagues receive while it is more, it also comes with a lot more that they have to navigate, that like I don't have to navigate as a woman in the space. And so I was always like, well, you know, you can take the attention because like, you know, I'll just like do the work and find it enjoyable, and then I don't have to deal with all that other noise. I think that that has like changed as like the community has become more self-aware. Not to say that there's not still crazy stuff, but and I also think what the real, now that I've been in the industry a little bit longer, the place where my kind of perspective has adjusted on it is that I have started to see the real direct impact of a narrator or an actor's like perceived popularity or actual like number popularity on certain platforms, and like the money that I can ask for. And so I do then feel like, I mean, on the whole, women get paid less than men in this industry.
In
And
industries.
yeah, I know. And it's a bummer in this one that is like female led, that is like the case. And so I then do think more carefully, up to your question of then what can we do to help that, so that publishers or producers or authors are willing to say pay equity, or, you know, pay her due or whatever. And it is, I think it is tied to popularity. I think it is tied to like when you talk about a book, you know, always be sure, obviously, to tag and comment about the narrator. I think in the same way that like whenever you are moved by a performance in the way that like you feel really seen by the work that a woman did, you know, to call it out in that way, make sure you're following them. All of these posts I see people do, like calling out female narrators, that's always like so exciting when you see everybody lifted up that way. But I think anytime that you're making a Thursday video about a guy, like just remember that you are attracted to him because I made you think that he was attractive in the way that I was narrating that story. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing to just like kind of remember. Like he's hot because I told you the
You're
chapter
welcome.
he's hot. Like
That's awesome. I never thought of it that way. That's really clever. Everyone saying holla, yes, girl. Damn right's what lady said. Okay, so all right, I'm just now glancing at my notes. I just want to make sure. When you were younger,
yeah.
was there anyone that inspired you to keep going on your path? It sounds like it might be your mom and dad.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely always, I mean, for better or worse, anytime I accomplished something, they would sort of give me a good job, but then also would move the goalpost by like a few inches, which was like, I love you guys, but I'm tired.
That's what my kids say.
Can I just get the parade, please? So yeah, so I mean, I think that their insistence on that, and then I think like, because I've been a part of so many different industries, there's always been one thing I've found consistent in a lot of them is that the people that that seem to be the most like, maybe not successful, but that like appeared to be like leaders in an industry, that I admired, had a lot of shared qualities of like generosity, and like curiosity, I think, and like just a little less of like, I don't know really the right way to put it. Like I used to say, like some people have a sort of like hungry hippo sort of energy where they just like got to go and they got to be doing. And I've always been really inspired by the people who just reminded me in any industry that any career life is kind of like a marathon. So like pace yourself, don't get too like focused on the immediate thing. And I think my parents also pushing me in that way and always moving the goalposts is also speaks to this idea of like, well, once you accomplish that, there's always more, there's always another vista, there's always something else to accomplish. So I think like those kinds of lessons from them and from other kind of leaders in any industry I've been in have been like what I hold on to kind of keep going.
Yep. You find out what you like from leaders, and you also find out what you don't like, and you base it on that. Okay. I don't even know if this is on here, but and I have to word this correctly because what I want to say is, do you have a favorite narrator. You like to, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm on this book with this person. But I know you're not supposed to say you have your favorite. So do you have one that you work with often that you're excited and been like, oh, I'm on this book with so and so. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's hard nowadays because um working with somebody, like, I guess the dirty secret is working with somebody doesn't actually mean I'm working with them that much unless people are asking us to go to studios together or have studio time together. I remember early on in my career, I was so excited because Jason Clark records at my studio at Brick Shop. So I knew him personally. And my first Jason book years ago, I was like, we get to work together. I was like, well, we're even at the same studio just because we were both recording at the studio. And we're not working on this book in the collaborative way. But that's not to say that, like, people that I work with, particularly in duels and duets, I was just talking to somebody at this event in Syracuse about this. They were talking about like narrator, when they're paired together in duets or duels, when they feel like they're either at like the same pace or like the same sort of style, or when they're different. And I was saying that I always try to listen to the work of a co-narrator so that I can adjust myself, because those men aren't adjusting themselves, to try to match their energy. And so, like, some men that I work with, like a Connor Crace, is more kind of pulled back, kind of throwaway in some of his, restraint in his narration. So I want to be sure that if I'm coming in, I'm not coming in like super hot, so it doesn't sound super jarring to you. And so to that end, I would say that the people I like working with a lot are people that I feel like I naturally have similar instincts on, so I don't have to adjust myself that much. And to that end, I think like Jason Clark and Teddy Hamilton are probably the two people that I like naturally just vibe with. And like we make the same acting choices. Almost all of our duets are recorded separately. And in those duets, I never get any retakes because because I was yelling the line and he was like whispering the line, like in the scene, you know what I mean? So I like working with them for that reason, because I think we have similar instincts from that. But I also just like, there's so many people that are newer that I've had the opportunity to work with, that I did a book for Courtney Wynn Vesselis with Brandon Francis, and had the best time developing the full character. He sent me the most crazy wild folder of voices that were so specific and unique. And Sean Masters I've been working a lot with lately, and like
I like Sean Masters.
Thomas and James Cassidy, like they're just like exquisitely, and they're precise and like wonderfully communicative, and like want to talk about the books in a really beautiful way. So like, yeah, I'm just always so delighted when there's like new people coming up that I'm like, oh, like maybe some of these newer men are like hearing the chatter and are like, oh, okay, this is not how we do this. Like maybe we should answer an email and like work on the book with the ladies, and it shows, and it's really great to work with them then.
Well, that's good to hear, because those are all names that I know that I'm starting to really like their work, and so it's good to hear that you enjoy working with them. That
They're great guys.
That's awesome. James Cassidy is new to me,
Mhm.
and all of my friends, I'll call them, they're on the James Cassidy train, and they argue on who's driving the train. Like I think he's very talented. I got to talk to him the other day in live. Funny guy.
Funny guy.
Yep.
So thoughtful. He and I I was doing an Only Flowers account over the summer, like showing off all the flowers in my garden. And to this day, still, he was just on a vacation with his wife and was texting me pictures. And he was like, "Here's what's happening in France on the flowers. Should I like send you some black market bulbs?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, let's do it." Like, he's just a delight. He's great.
Okay. Oh, you were on the what? A flower, huh?
Oh, I did on my Instagram stories during the summertime. I was posting to my stories, and I called it like my OF account, like OnlyFans, and I really confused some people because it was only flowers, and I was posting. I was like, oh, update on my OF account, and it would just be like the dahlias or the irises in bloom, and I got so many DMs of people that were like, oh, are you doing OnlyFans now? Is that? And I was like, no, it's a bad joke that I don't think plays.
It's really funny, and should continue doing that next. And I'll share it and be like, here's the OF today. So do you love flowers? Like, do you plant them? And
Yeah, so I moved out of the city, and now I spend part of my time, because my studio is still in Brooklyn. So I spend part of my time in Brooklyn and part of my time out here. And I'm on like 35 acres of like forest and stuff. And so, yeah, really full circle, came back. And yeah, I like it, but I like where we're at because we have so much land. What I like about it is that it's the one place, like gardening for me and planting flowers is the one place where I let myself to like fail with abandon. That like I just buy seeds, I buy bulbs that seem fun. I like maybe drink too many margaritas and I go onto a website and I like order a bunch of plants, and then like 6 months later a box of plants shows up because that's the time to plant them. My husband's like, what were you doing? I was like, I don't know. 6 months ago I was having a good time. And then I'll like plant them all over, but I don't like, I'm not super precise about like what needs to be fed, what needs to be pruned. I just sort of am like, if it's meant to survive and thrive here, it will. It will be sort of a wild garden. Yeah. I think there's just like, there's so many aspects in my life that I really beat myself up about and have like really perfectionist tendencies. And so the garden, because we have so much land and because like nobody is out here seeing it, like it can be as messy and wild as I want it to be. And it means that like I sometimes will plant something that I think is dead, and then 2 years later it will pop up in like another part of the property because I don't know, some squirrel dug it up and moved it around. And so it really just like reminds me of like, well, you never know, like the impact of things, and like, you know, embrace the chaos.
Do you do anything with the flowers? Like, do you love to have fresh flowers in your house, or do you bring them to your friends?
Yeah. So yeah, certainly the ones that like are good to cut, I'll certainly cut and have them. I just learned this last year, so not 2025, but 2024. And then I was like, I'm gonna be on top of it for 25. Did not. But I learned in 24 how I can't remember the name of it. Maybe it's like silica or something, but that you like dry them really well. And I have a kiwi berry tree that has like, if I snip it, I can turn it into wreaths when it dries because it dries like hard. So I have like a lot of wreaths here. So I was like, oh, I'll like dry the flowers, and then I can, instead of buying dried flowers, I'll have my own dried flowers for the wreaths. But didn't happen this year, baby. I was like, I got like 3/4 of the way through season. And again, my husband pulled out a bag of like, so he was like, were you doing something with this? And I was like, maybe not this year.
Just put that back right there.
You can just sometime.
Okay, so I've gone through a lot of these. Okay, real quick before I've got a few ending questions, but book conventions. I always like to get you guys' take on book conventions, because it seems like you guys go and you really love the fan interaction. You really love hanging out with authors and hanging out with your fellow narrators.
Yes.
Do you enjoy it? What do you enjoy out of it? And what do you not enjoy out of it?
Yeah, I think I like I already pulled out of 2 for next year, for some of the reasons that I don't enjoy it. I'll say this, like it is really wonderful to meet people in real life. And I say this all the time to readers that I meet, that because it's so isolated in here, it's nice to meet people, because whenever I come back from an event, I'm immediately picturing any number of the people that I got to meet and talk to. And like, that's the person I'm telling the story to. Because I find like for my work, especially because so much of romance is done in the first person, it's really helpful for me to like specifically think of like, who am I telling this story to? Why am I telling you that like his baby arm ding dong was like looking real good in those pants? You know what I mean? Like, oh, my heart was a flutter.
Just baby arm ding dong. I need to let that process for a moment.
I just realized halfway through, I was like, you're on a live. You can't like say it. It's
like
you can.
So, and it's hilarious.
I was like, yeah, so that's why we went to ding. Anyways, so it's really important for me to like imagine the person that I am telling the story to. And so when I go to these events, I like fully, now I've got a long line of women that I can sort of like put in the booth with me and tell this story to. I've also had some of the most like meaningful, wonderful conversations just with women about these books. Sometimes people are really overwhelmed and they don't know, you know, we're all overwhelmed. But sometimes when somebody's really remembered a book, like I really like, I mean, I've read that book, I've prepped that book, I recorded that book. I spent a lot of time with every single book. And so when you like remember parts of it and we can bond over that, it's really lovely and important. Meeting the women who write the stories, the authors, like that's really great, but not there's not always the opportunity to like do that. And so like because I think on the and obviously my narrators are my that I work with, but that like connection to other narrators and authors is not always facilitated at these events, and it's not always the best place for it to happen because people are just like showing up, they're setting up their tables, they're like running from one thing to another. So the events that like are specific about creating space where I can like meet authors, and not in like a sell myself way, because like I've been to some where like some narrators have been like, hi, I've never met you, hire me. And I'm like, that's not what this is necessarily for. I would rather just like talk about romance and like also just your life as a person. So yeah, so it's been hard because I think some of those things that I like so much, connection, are harder and harder to do at events. And so the smaller events are the ones that I've been more drawn to, because it is either living in New York, I can more and more authors are doing book tours, so it's easy for me to meet them in New York if New York's a stop for them, and then it's specifically about that book. It's a much smaller group. I just like visited a book club in Syracuse. There's an event that I do in Maryland the last couple of years that's like smaller. So I've been trying to lean towards that because I really do like, if you've ever met me at an event, like you'll come to my table and I'll be like, great, so settle in. We've got 45 minutes. I'm going to like learn about your uncle. I'm going to like figure out why you redecorated that kitchen. Like, and there are some people, I've definitely maybe gone too far where I just like, as you can tell, I'm blabbing tonight, that like somebody will come and be like, oh, you're ready to move on. Okay, I'll let you go. I will stop going on and on about.
Well, that's my friends that have some of my good friends have met you, and they just have the most wonderful things to say about you. They also said, I probably shouldn't say this on a live and we cut this out, but you had a low cut dress and they were like, dang, she looked good. Bam, Samantha.
Listen, another reason that like a real vulnerable truth like that I am pulling out of some of these events is that it's really hard. It's funny you say that about like the outfit, is that it's really, really hard for me to not spiral on the other side of these events. Because being photographed that much is like really, I just get so in my head. And nobody, listen, these events happen in conventions with the worst drop down, like the worst lighting you've ever seen in your life. People are nervous and they're asking the person behind them to take a photo. So like it's like a weird, so the conditions for a photo are not good. But I will go and I'll spend all this time being like, okay, the glam is on point. And then the photos come back and I'm like, is that what I look like? Am I totally delusional? Oh my gosh. Set me on fire, throw me off a cliff. I can cancel. What? How could you? And it's just like not healthy.
So I plan, I do events for my job, and I go to these convention centers, and I've stopped working with the manager. I get the janitor, and I say, come here. And I say, lights off. And he's like, oh, and then I'm like, no. And so he's like, got you. And then he can find to turn some, because I'm like, why does anyone want the God lights at all times, especially when it's at 11 o'clock at night? No, thank you. Like, let's do some soft lighting. So if there's a lighting expert out there that then does hotels and conventions, let's just do a soft light and set. Okay.
Please, anybody out here who's doing conventions, work on the lighting. And it is like, I think there was this Montana event. I was like really proud of myself because I like also try to find like on theme sort of adjacent outfits. I am not a stylist, ma'am. I am not. I'm very proud of this sweatshirt that I found. That's like the except that I am not. And so I'll like work really hard and be like, I think I did it. And I did something that I was like, oh, it's like a corset. It's like a rip bodice, but like in a sort of like Little House on the Prairie dress, like whatever. And again, I thought it was fine in the hotel room. Girl, you would think I was starting an OF milkmaid account after that event. I was like, what?
As my mama said, some people got them and some people don't. You shouldn't have to stop what you're wearing because you got them. That's what I say.
Yeah, no, she definitely does. She definitely does.
Yeah. Look at everyone laughing. Okay. All right. So I end these lives.
Yes.
Inside the actor studio, he always asks those questions. So he actually got this from a person called Proust from the
Mhm.
1800s. He did this questionnaire. And so during parties, he would say, if you answer these questions, you're able to get a better understanding of the individual. So he actually, James
Lipton. Yeah.
Yep. He actually chose questions straight off of that questionnaire, and there's a lot more questions. So I was like, well, I'm going to choose some questions off that questionnaire. So that's what we're going to end on. You ready?
Are you here? Are you
Yeah.
back?
Oh,
Great.
did I go?
I feel I left it froze for a second, but I'm
Look at
back.
me. Look at the chat. I'm sure it's me. All my people are here, and they've already got off the internet 3 times this week, and they said they're not doing it again. So it could be me. I'm just saying. Okay, here we go. So do you hear all that about Proust and
Yes, I
James?
did.
Okay,
I did.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask these questions, and if you don't want to answer, you can just say pass.
Okay.
Okay. All right. What is your idea of perfect happiness?
Oh, good people, good conversation, good food in like a lovely environment.
What does good food mean?
Oh my gosh, any number of things. I love all cuisines. A meal that I feel like takes its time is like over like an extended period of time hits like a plate. There's a sensibility of Persian cooking. My dad's family is Persian. That like a perfect plate has like hits all your taste buds, so that you've got salty, sweet, all of that, but also like all the textures, crunchy and like soft and everything else. So like a perfectly balanced meal in that way.
Hmm, that sounds delicious.
Hmm.
What is your greatest fear?
I'm not giving that to the internet. Pass, please.
Fair. Um, see how easy I am. What is a trait you most dislike in yourself?
Ooh, I think it's really hard for me to like own a win and not, yeah, I think it's hard for me to like own a win.
Lots of women are just like you.
Yeah, man.
Not me.
Teach me your ways.
Just like they're like, that wasn't your win. I'm like, yeah, it was. I don't know what you're talking about. Did I walk in the room? Yeah. Win. Okay. What do you dislike in others?
Mm, like absolutism.
I'm kind of stupid. Explain that to me.
Somebody who's like, very like black and white, all or nothing. Yeah.
Kind of all or nothing, but I try not to be black and white.
Mm, all or nothing meaning like not all or nothing is maybe the wrong way to say it, but like somebody that's just like either or, that there's no nuance.
Yeah. There's no gray area and understanding and
Yeah, there's
compassion.
no holding two separate ideas. It's your either or. A very, yeah.
Nope, me too. What quality do you like most in a man?
Curiosity.
Okay. And what about a woman?
Curiosity. It's pretty good. Pretty good one.
Yeah. Which word or phrases do you overuse?
Depends on the group. Generally, I really do use filler words of like and like I like and really a lot.
Mine's Now that I do videos, I'm like, I sometimes I cut them out because I'm like, that's so ridiculous. And then after 30 minutes of it, I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna keep my 59 ums in there.
It's there, girl. It's too much work. I'll send a text and we'll look ahead and be like, why did you put so many likes in a text? That's a text, girl.
My text, if I ever texted you, you can't understand what I say. And I don't even correct it. I'm just like, figure it out. I don't, don't text me. I'm just kidding. Okay. See, when and where were you the most happiest?
Recently, on this secret beach that we went to in Crete, in Greece.
I want to go to Greece so bad.
It's awesome. recommend it. It's incredible. It's beautiful. It's delicious. There's at least the part of Greece that I was in Crete, there was a certain sensibility of everybody on island that was like, I mean, it's gonna happen. Like, don't, what are you stressed about? Like, get done. And which is a great, for an uptight person or whatever, it's like a great like exposure therapy. It's like, yeah, it'll be fine. I don't know how, but it'll be fine.
Because they have nowhere to go. So I mean, what are they going to do?
Yeah, come on. We'll sort it out. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the goats will move on or whatever, but yeah, it was great.
A secret beach, so no one knew about it.
I mean, like, people obviously knew, but it was like, because we had to get there somehow, but it was very secluded, and there was just one, like, you took a boat all the way out there. There was like nothing sort of around. It was like on a side of Greece, or on a side of Crete, that there was like nothing around it, and there was one like taverna shack, and then the beach of beach chairs. And so like you'd go up and you could like swim, and the water was the absolutely perfect temperature. It was absurdly clear. And there was like a goat that started harassing people in the most hilarious way. It was so there were laughs, there were, and then like
people's hair.
Yeah, and then like down the beach, like on like this other part of the beach was like where all like the Europeans were hanging out for like the nudist part, and it was like a reminder of like, baby girl, embrace your body, it's fine, don't be crazy, like just be. And I was like, this is great. Everything about this is what just like living and being great is just like.
I don't think I could do that.
I mean, I wasn't there, but I was like, yeah, get it, girl. I mean, it's all, everybody is like 70 on the nudist side. I'm looking forward to 70 being like, yeah, what are you
I
gonna
think
do?
I'll do that when I'm 70 though.
Why not? Come on, girl. I feel like it's got to be really freeing at 70. Like, why not? What do you have to lose?
I mean, as you get older, us women, we do stop giving, like, degaffs just gets a whole lot. So probably by 70, I won't care.
Yeah, exactly. It was very clear that all of these women on the beach didn't give that.
Degaff, yeah. Okay. Which talent would you most like to have?
Ooh, anything to do like with like dancing or like with my body. I have very poor like mind body. I'm very clumsy. I'm just not, can't dance to save my life. I can sort of bop to a rhythm, but yeah.
I can dance, but I fell in the pool today.
Are you okay?
My foot hurts and I iced it, but it's fine. But I'm walking with my with my iPad and my computer, and I'm on the phone talking.
Did they go in the water?
Okay, so it's a corner. So I was walking across the corner, and something happened, and my foot caught, and so I could either like drop my stuff and catch myself, and I said no, my stuff's gonna go in the water. So I chose to I saved my devices and went down. But everything. I don't know what that says about me, but I'm sure.
Well, it says that you're a forward thinker and that you were protecting future you, who would have been more upset about the waterlogged laptop than about the falling in the pool.
In the iPad, I think it was my iPad that I'm like, I cannot. Okay, so
Yeah.
anyways, sorry. Thanks for listening. Okay, what do you consider your greatest achievement?
I don't know. That's an insane question that I don't know. I feel like I've maybe, you know what? I think I was really nervous. This is maybe a little emo, but I was really nervous. My mom married my dad, met my dad when she was 19, married him when he was 21. When she was 21, and he passed away a couple years ago, and I was really worried about her finding a second chapter for herself after all that. And I think that my greatest achievement is being a pretty big part in making her feel like she had a lot more life to live on the other side of that, and a lot about herself to discover and do and be. So I'd say I feel pretty good about being a part of like helping that broken heart.
That's amazing. But my mom and his mom are widows, and they haven't found that yet. It's been 20 something years.
Tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of bravery, I think, and a lot of like hard conversations, and maybe a little bit of like, I'm shoving you out of this nest. Sorry. I know it seems mean, but you got to figure it out. Go, bye. I'll come pick you up.
Yeah. Where would you most like to live?
I think I'm doing it
Yeah, I
right
was going
now.
to say, I think that's what your answer would be.
Yeah, I mean, our home and the property I'm living like in the forest, being a bit of a bog witch. There's a lake that at the end of our forest that like we're on. I love like the only thing I would change maybe is like because my favorite environment ever is where like water meets mountain, like lake meets mountain. But it's really ideal for me because like I really need the balance of like the city. I'm really fueled by that. I love people. So the fact that I can balance out all of this like quietude with going into the city as much as I do is like really ideal for me. So
Yeah,
I think I'm there.
that's great. What is your most treasured possession?
Oh. Hmm. I would say, what am I grabbing? What am I grabbing when I burn down the house making bacon?
You don't burn the house making bacon.
Oh, girl, when we first got this house, with this the guys who owned it before us had like the Fort Knox of security systems, and we didn't realize how intense it was. And our first week, I was really just weird side story. I was really nervous when we bought the house because I felt like, what are we doing owning a house? We are not ready for this. I had nightmares that the previous owners showed up on the front door and were like, what are you doing in our house? You're not supposed to be here. I couldn't process it. So we were like, first week, I'm having nightmares about it. This isn't, what are we doing? And I had taken a shower and my husband was making us BLTs, and the combination of the bacon, and then we found out that this alarm was where the steam, like if you take a hot shower and you open the door, the like steam from the bathroom, so the fire alarm went off, and we're like, well, we're in the country, like it's not New York City, we're not gonna have the like no, definitely the local volunteer firefighters showed up. I was in a towel still. were and because it's the country, they're real nosy, and so they were like, oh, you got Ralph and Roger's old place, you the new guys here? Well, we could come in and take a look. And we were like, nope, we just made bacon. I'm gonna go put some clothes on right now. You guys are great, it's all fine. Sorry, this is awful.
Were they cute? Firefighters, me cute.
Girl, not these firefighters.
That's disappointing. So, okay.
No, I know, they're just, it's like Joey and his buddy Ramon, and they maybe, I don't know if they could run fast enough to put the fire out, but they got hearts of gold. So and they got here pretty fast when I was making.
They'll save you one day. Okay, so what would you grab if
What
it
would I
wasn't?
grab if I'm
Yeah.
doing it? Girl, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I think I gotta pass. I don't know what I would grab.
That means that there's nothing that means so much to you as people. That's what I get that from that.
That's true. I mean, I definitely have learned the lesson that stuff's just stuff. I've had some really important things to me that just found their way. I remember calling my mom once because I had lost this baby bracelet that I used to wear around my neck, sobbing outside of work. I lost it. What am I going to do this thing? She was like, it fell on the ground and somebody found it, and somebody just had the best day ever because they found this little gold bracelet on a necklace. And we're like, what a magical thing I found. So like, it just was done with you. It's time. It needed to go make somebody else's. And so I just feel like stuff.
I love your mom.
She's a great
Next
lady.
time you tell her that, say, I met this lady and she loves you. It's weird too, but okay. What do you most value in your friends?
The 1-2 punch of a great sense of humor and being wonderful, like active, like listeners for each other. Like I think we're all really invested in each other's lives and have a good sense of humor.
Yeah, you gotta have for your life. You gotta have a good sense of humor. Okay. Do you have a biggest regret?
Yeah, but I'm not telling the internet.
You're fine with that. Some people say no. I was thinking about what I would say. I'm like, maybe one thing. Yeah. Okay. What is your motto?
Ooh. There is it's from, so my dad, there's like a very ancient like Persian Zoroastrian culture, and their sort of through like line motto is good thoughts, good words, good deeds.
Hmm,
Mm.
that's great.
It's very great.
It is great. Okay, so final question.
Hmm.
If you could write a letter to your younger self,
Hmm.
what would it say? And what would the PS line at the bottom say?
Um, I'd probably say, "Hey girl, always do it for the plot." P.S. You're not gonna believe some of this shit.
That's great. That's good. Well, that concludes our PS with Precious, Samantha
Precious, I
Brentmoor.
could have spent all night talking to you. You are a lovely, thoughtful woman. What a delightful space you create to have
Thank you.
conversations and talk
I
about
love doing this. I love
what
doing this.
inspired you to start like making space like this.
Well, I learned, here we go. I learned in the book world when I got in the online world. You know, I'm a successful in person. I'm very personable. I love to meet people, I love to make friends. And in the online world, I learned book people sometimes are introverts.
Yeah.
They want connection and they want relationships. But some of them, it's really hard to actually do it.
Yeah.
So I keep reaching out and keep reaching out. So I learned that I'm personality wise, like I'm good for certain people. I'm good for
Mhm.
book people. And then I saw a bad part of book world that I didn't like. So I said, well, what are you gonna do about it? I'll never forget this. I asked my friends around her because I wasn't showing my face. I was like, we could get you on. There just needs to be another perspective out there. There needs to be someone else that has a voice of reason. And like no one would do it. So if I'm like, well, I'll do it. And so, anyways, I started doing it, becoming more comfortable, and I love meeting people. And I love forming relationships and connections with people. And I do like to talk to you guys because I get to bring your story to the people that love to listen. So
Yeah.
I'll
Also,
volunteer
like
as
how
tribute.
wonderful to like be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Like this
On a
is
small
this.
scale. You'll be
Look, I will leave on this. The small scale is all we have. All we can do is like look right in front of us. What can we touch right in front of us? If we're not influencing the world within arm's reach to the best of our abilities to make it better and more lovely to be in, then like that's the work that you have to do first. Like, and I think a lot of people discredit the value of that. And it's that idea that, you know, you smile at a stranger at the street and then that makes them smile. It's going to make somebody else smile. I think that's a very real thing. And, you know, I think having space like this, having a lovely conversation and then going off and being like, Precious was great. Makes me want to go talk to more people, makes me want to connect to people and keep on doing this work. So thank you for making this.
you're welcome. And I really want to meet you one day. So hopefully you're going to be somewhere and I'm going to see you and we're going to connect.
We absolutely will. And I will go on for way too long. And you'll be like, that was, you know, I said I wanted to meet you, but I actually have places to go and be. So
I would sit there and talk to you all night. Like that's just, you know, because you're
say,
a delightful lady.
oh, well, right back at you, ma'am.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Yes, you as well. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Okay,
Bye,
bye.
guys. Thanks for joining us. Bye.